Say wholeness, everyone. Welcome to another edition of We Meditate. I am your host, Ahmad Brown. And today I wanted to come with some information in regard to the winter solstice. The winter solstice. I know some of us are, well versed in the solstices and equinoxes, things of that nature. However, I'm just reaching out to the conscious few as a reminder, to remember all of the esoteric secrets of the universe. In regard to astrology, and essentially a awakening or a quickening for all of those still, in religious constructs who essentially are celebrating this time of renewal by reenacting the myth of Jesus Christ, things of that nature. And just to start, I want to say that many of us, myself included, actually, may have moments of apathy or moments of disgust, or moments of anger, when we'll see, people continuously perpetrating, the myth and saying that these things are real. However, we have to really understand that when people do these things, it's really just an aspect of our own consciousness. We have to be in remembrance of, the time when we were not in a place of knowledge, or when we were, ignorant of the truth, and that it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's all about the progression of consciousness, the progression of awareness and the progression of self. And honestly, even though they may be, prescribing certain things that may not necessarily be true, at least, the positive feelings of, of peace, love, and joy, so to speak, are being resonant around. So there is some good, some practical good that is taking place with that. So, so for us conscious few, try not to be so, angry, when people are continuously ignoring, the things that are, placed right in front of them that say, that will tell them that, you may not be celebrating this the right way. Nevertheless, I just wanted to share some, reminders in regard to the solstice. As we know, the solstice is every year in December 21st. And this particular day is very important because it is the day where the Earth in its axis, as it spins around the sun, reaches its southernmost point of balance. A southern point of balance. All conscious thought, whether it be religious or esoteric, the concept is always essentially about balance, whether it be, externalized or internalized. I always try to find a place of balance. So astrologically speaking, we know that as the Earth travels around the sun, there are four placements in the sun, or four placements in space, where the Earth is essentially on right angles, and the light that is beaming from the sun is actually being directly beamed to the Earth in a perfect, right angle. Essentially, as the Earth spins around the sun, light is being refracted, essentially as it travels through space. It comes at different angles, which shows the sun taking different placements in the sky. And so 4 times a year, the Earth is at a perfect angle where the energy, the light of the sun has the ability to transmit directly, unadulterated. And so there are surges of energy that take place in the solstices and the equinoxes. And so, yes, we are in the southernmost equinox, which is the winter solstice. And so this winter solstice, though, has a lot of meaning that, again, are tied into these myths, because practically speaking, when we think about the southernmost equinox, we look down, talking about a downward trajectory. And so in the microcosm, the body, the physical interpretation of all of this, we're looking down at the Earth and we're planting roots. So in this planting of roots, the southern hemisphere is essentially the place or the time where we get to renew or replant new seeds, and this whole concept actually plays into the whole myth, and it plays into the astrology in and of itself. As we know, with the whole the 21st the placement in the sky, as we approach winter, the sun takes a farther away stance from the Earth. Again, as the Earth spins, it actually does not spin in a perfect circle, not a perfect circle. So even my hands are not a perfect circle. It actually spins more in an oval shape, more of an oval. That's right angle, but you get it. So it spins in an oval shape where it has extensions around the sun. And so this oval shape, actually, when it reaches the 90-degree angles in the sky, it forms, again, a cross. You've heard me make reference to the cross before, or you've heard in Christianity the cross before. And so with this particular oblong or oval shape, when it reaches the 90-degree angles, it actually forms the cross that you will see, like the Christian cross, where the vertical axis is, of course, straight up, but the horizontal axis is somewhat off placement, a little bit to the north. So the actual cross that you see is actually an astrological interpretation. A religious interpretation of an astrological principle of simply just how the earth rotates around the actual sun. And so this rotation actually is transplanted or implanted upon the microcosmic body, meaning that this oblong shape actually takes place in the body of itself, meaning if you were to stand with your feet together and extend your arms, you form a cross. The same oval shape actually represents the womb. If you look at a womb of any female, female body, when a baby is inside of it, the womb is in an oval shape. If you look at an egg, as a chicken lays an egg, the egg is in, again, an oval shape. And the same actual shape will yield a cross if you find the 90-degree angles within that circular form. And so this cross figure is actually, again, a macrocosmic truth, talking about the spin of the sun, spin of the earth around the sun, and as well as a microcosmic reenactment or refraction of that in this physical realm, where we simply are seeing that same blueprint transplanted in all of creation. And so this particular transplant of creation, though, talks about, deals with this whole balance of darkness and light, that we have. If we look at it from, the Christian mythology as they've adopted it, in this particular season, they talk about the star being born in this dark season. If you know anything about the Christian myth, the lands or the time that they were in were overruled by a dark king, the King Herod. And this dark king, again, is no more than a representation of the dark season that the earth is in, because, again, the sun or the light or the energy that helps the earth grow is actually the furthest away. And so the sun energy is in a dark season, as it is ascribed on the Christian myth that Jesus was born in a dark season by under the authority of a dark king. And so as the myths show, it talks about this concept of darkness, but the darkness is no more than the distance of the sun being furthest away from the planet. And so more with the story, though, when the sun reaches the southernmost placement in the sky, it actually starts another astrological alignment. When we reach the southern part, the sun actually gets into alignment with Orion's belt. And if you look up Orion's belt, it has 3 stars. And these 3 stars are actually represented by the 3 kings. And the 3 kings traveled east to the bright and morning star, as they say. But this is no more than an allegory of actually going east, traveling east across the Orion's belt. And when you go first, second, third star, it actually points directly to the star of Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. And so this Sirius, the bright and morning star, when we talk about the birth of the sun, Jesus, this bright and morning star Sirius is actually talking about one of the original birthplaces of humanity, because it is written that the original man essentially traveled from the Sirius star system to Earth, or at least not directly to Earth, to the Milky Way Galaxy. So as we have progressed in our astral travel, looking back into the past, we've remembered, based on these astrological connections, where we actually come from. And so this whole remembering, this concept of reattachment, remembering, renewal, is all drawn into these particular scriptures or these particular astrological understandings for us to look back to our roots. There it is again, look back to our roots from the southern hemisphere of the sky, where we can reconnect to the actual darkness. Now, again, I know the whole concept of like darkness may throw people off a little bit because most of us are stuck in the sense of dualism, of darkness versus light, things of that nature. However, any adept knows that the darkness and the light are no more than magnetic polarizations. They're actually necessary forces that exist, and they're actually not good nor bad or good nor evil. They are simply just magnetics. And so this principle of, again, macrocosmic magnetic, meaning the great space, the great existence in and of itself, it needs this dualistic force to actually generate the physical existence that we're in right now. So everything that is happening is actually because of a process of the light and the dark continuously crashing against one another. And in this continual crash, it creates what's called a reverberation. Reverberation is a wave of energy. And as these waves continue to expand and contract, they send out higher and lower frequencies of vibration that essentially manifest the various realms that we're in now. And so we could take that same interpretation and use that in our view of the world, because we are actually in dark times, as they say. These dark times, looking at it again from a microcosmic scale, we could take just a quick social analysis. We'll see that in this, for whatever reason, in 2014, we have a very, very strong, attentive focus on the division that is taking place in the world. We have the problems with Syria. We have problems with Egypt. We have problems with Kim Jong-un, with Sony. And of course, we have problems with like Mike Brown, and Eric Garner, things of that nature. We have a heightened awareness of the darkness of division that is actually taking place in the darkest time of the year. For whatever reason, we've actually taken a downturn or a downward focus into like a downward spiral, so to speak, which is, again, no more than a microcosmic reflection of the downward spiral of the sun. And so, yes, it actually does suck that we're in this awareness of warfare. Yes, it does suck that here in the West we're dealing with the prevalence of racial inequality and racial violence and things of that nature. Yes, it does suck that we have a heightened sensitivity to the death and destruction that is actually taking place. However, this death and destruction is actually no more than a reconciliation of all of the darkness that is actually taking place as a necessary force for the earth to even exist. Now, like I said, that's a hard pill for me to swallow, because, I'm an African American man. So I think it sucks that the equalizing force of, nature in and of itself is wreaking havoc upon people that look like me, primarily, exclusively. However, if you watch my Mike Brown video, I talk about that on the greater scale. Again, how it's happened to every group of people, no matter what color they are, essentially what hue upon the scale of humanity. It is unfortunately just our turn to be receiving the brunt of nature's regenerative joke, so to speak. But again, talking about the whole levels, looking at things from vibratory levels, we can, again, look at the world from a dark position. And again, this dark position is not bad. It's a position of looking down into division, looking down into the dualism of itself. Meaning, if we take a harsh look at the world, we'll see all of the division that takes place. If we turn on the news, all you see is division, all you see is destruction. And again, these things are literally taking place. But when you look down and have a negative view of the world, that is all you see in the world. However, if you take a step back and look up, again, you will actually see that it's a part of the reconciliation and the recycling of energy on the earth. Another way of looking at it, take blood, for instance. If you cut yourself and just look at blood and see it streaming out, all you see is, a red liquid. And again, that's from more of a macrocosmic look at it, meaning you're just looking at blood from your two eyes. However, if you put that blood into a microscope and take a microscopic look at it, meaning a heightened, sensitive, aware, downward view of it, you will see that your blood is actually not this one red fluid. It's actually a bunch of individual red cells. And so the same thing is, again, a part of this process of the darkness that we're looking at, that we can actually fall into the trap of individualism and separation by looking at the warfare of the world. And so we can literally make the choice to operate in this sense of delusion of dividedness by co-opting into the actual necessary dualistic force needed to generate existence, and then become angry and fueled and polarize ourselves into either the light or the dark. Meaning we could take the dark side and be like, yeah, I'm down for all the death and destruction, or you could try to be like a light sider, and then you could, say, I want to end all of racism now type of thing. However, you can take a heightened or a higher perspective and essentially just fit in where you are and let things be, and just let your life progress as it may. It's very hard to do, definitely. However, that is the higher side of things. Again, not a right or wrong, not a polarized light or dark. You're taking the higher road where you see it as actually just necessary. If that's not a good enough example, think about looking at again, a divided version or a divided look at the earth in and of itself. If you look at a map based on the divided authority of the government rule over the earth, you will see that there are lines of separation, lines of gentrification that separate people based on either an economic class, based on a gender, based on a country, based on a nationality, based on a geographic zone, based on a geographic zone, things of that nature. These are all artificial barriers that have been put up by the consciousness of division that keep everybody divided. However, if you could take that stance and that look, but again, if you actually take an astral look of the earth, meaning like a NASA view of the earth, a satellite view of the earth, you will see that there are no lines that exist. There's just the earth, and then there's water. None of these artificial segregations, none of these artificial barriers, none of these artificial divisions actually are actually existent on the earth itself. We are the ones who are actually co-opting into this division based on our downward or divisive projections of the earth, our downward and divisive projections of our own consciousness, and we keep reinventing the separation. And so again, that's why we have to look at the earth and look at this whole aspect of division, the aspect of governments, things of that nature. Because again, as we look on the higher levels of all of existence, we'll see that things just on every level there exists a divided view and a singular view. So on this particular earth, we could take a divided view or we could take a singular view. Just how on higher levels of consciousness that are sitting right on top of us, there's the divided view, which represents the governments that are, buying into that lower frequency of energy, again, that they're attached to on the higher realms. Or we could usurp that and go even higher, which would, represent, I guess, the Christ consciousness that says everything is singular. Everything emanates from the light. Everything is actually coming from God. Everything will be reconciled with God. And so, again, that's actually what brings it all back now to this astrological connection of the winter solstice, and again, the whole mythology that has been placed on it with the whole Jesus narrative. Because, again, as they say, the Christ is born. The Christ is born in this particular season, the holiday where they acknowledge the birth of the Christ. This Christ, again, as we know, it's not a specific person. It's a title, a conscious title that is open for everyone to reach, for those who have the will to reach it. And so as our astrological calendar recycles itself around the sun, we get the opportunity to renew, re-enliven, reconnect, remind ourselves of this Christ energy, this Christ consciousness that exists within all of us, which is the embodiment of our highest potential. And so we only get to, remember this or live out this particular potential when we insert it into the earth, meaning that's what they say, a seed has to be planted. And again, the seed will eventually be birthed. And again, this birthing of a seed is actually either the birthing of an actual person or the birthing of an idea. And so, as our astrological calendar shows us, every winter time, when we're in the darkest season, this is the season where we actually should be planting our seeds. We should be going down into the division and planting seeds of singularity, seeds of inspiration, seeds of oneness, that again will be used to re-enliven, to remind, and then to renew ourselves and the earth. And so that's why, again, this whole principle about darkness, again, is actually really seen as not a bad thing, but a necessary measure. Because if you take literally a seed and you plant it into the ground and cover it with dirt, what is that seed in? It's completely shrouded in darkness. However, that darkness is not evil. That darkness is actually necessary for the seed to take root, get the natural nutrients it needs from the earth, and then be able to sprout up into the light and then show its beauty. Think about a baby, a birth. A child is actually incubated in the mother's womb for 9 months for a human. It is in complete darkness, and then it is birthed into the light. So we have to actually really understand that the principle of darkness is actually not bad. It's the incubator. It is the feminine regenerative principle. This is where all of our ideas, our light ideas, are pushed down into the darkness. Again, the light being the Father God, Father ideas. They are pushed down into the darkness to be incubated and nurtured by the mother, so then that they can come full circle and come back into the light. And so this is the birthing of the Christ, the new idea, the coming of God, so to speak. And again, we are the gods. We are the Almighty, just expressed in a phi-based body, arm, leg, arm, head based body. And so we are the ones who are rebirthing the Godhead through our ideas and through our actual regenerative principles. So astrologically speaking, this is the time for us to rekindle, to bring all of the things back together, to go into the new year cycle actually expanding. And so we actually have the opportunity to expand in a new cycle, meaning we are progressing upward, we are progressing outward, as opposed to being caught on the cycle, meaning being caught on the actual wheel of astrology, like a horizontal wheel just spinning and not progressing. We will actually use our seeds to take that spinning and start twirling it upward, which is again Fibonacci, which is again the Kundalini force. And so we will actually start expanding when a new cycle emerges, as opposed to being stuck on the cycle like a treadmill. And so we will do this every single year by planting our new intentions. This is what they say, your new intention into the new year. That's why they talk about what are your New Year's goals, what are your new resolutions, things of that nature. That's no more than a diluted, modernized version of you getting your house in order. And so you have to get your house in order, meaning not just your physical house, but the house of your mind, by cleaning out all of the residue from your past year experiences so that you can be ready for the new light. So meaning all of your memories are actually stores or inklings of light beams. All of your memories, when you close your eyes and you remember something and you could see that vision of the light of the memory itself, you're using a memorized fraction or fractal of the light in and of itself that is showing your mind what you're trying to remember. And so when you are in this season, you should actually wash all of that away, the washing away of sins. Again, sin is actually the moon, Nanar Sin, which is actually the original name of the moon. And the moon is actually the first Lord principle, basically the first recording device of all of your activities. So you actually wipe your consciousness clean of the sin or the memories of your mind so that you are actually back in darkness. And again, the darkness not being bad, but the darkness meaning the incubating principle of your mind. So you should actually be in this time frame clearing out your mind so that you can make yourself into another womb, so that the new ideas are the new, I don't know, not just ideas, but the new things that you want to do with your life. You can receive those light beams fresh and anew as the light rays reach the new angle and start to refresh around the earth again. And so this is what they're talking about, the birth. So you actually should make yourself into a birthing person by stepping back into the darkness. And so make yourself an incubator by doing, a few things actually. One, again, forgiving yourself of all of your past memories, either if it's from this year or even further back, whatever is still nagging you. In your meditation, go back to those memories. Let the image come into your mind, whatever it is that's nagging you, and simply forgive yourself and let it just wash away. Go through literally a mental Rolodex during this particular season and let all of those things simply just flow away from you. Tell yourself, I forgive myself. There is no judge, in heaven waiting, telling you if you are or are not forgiven. It's actually you, and you are projecting yourself based on the things that you keep holding on to. So let it go. Also, clean your body. You have to clean your body. I actually still do eat meat quite regularly, actually. However, I've actually opted into cold turkey vegetarianism. December 25th was the last day that I actually ate meat. It was actually roast duck. It was pretty good. I know, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Roast duck, but for the remainder of the year, going straight cold turkey to vegetarianism, so I can clean out my system just a little bit more, so that when January 1 light rolls around, I will be ready to receive, the new energy that's going to charge me up and send me forward in 2015. And also, yes, clean your dwelling space. Get your dwelling space ready. Because again, whatever's internally in you will actually represent your external universe. So as you clean up your mind, clean up your emotions, clean up your body, you would want to actually clean up your house because you want to have just a healthy vibration in and around you. Again, you want to keep a safe space. You want to keep an incubating space so that new life can be emerged. And so do all of those things mentally, spiritually, and physically, and then you will actually be ready to maximize your efforts for the new year. Essentially, I just want to pass that on to everyone so that we could really be ready to go for 2015, because there's a lot of things that all of us have to do, a lot of goals that we have to reach, a lot of light that needs to be manifested through us, and a lot of peace and singularity that needs to be shared out into the world. So go ahead and cut off all your CNN, your MSNBC, your Fox News that keeps drilling us with this division, with this deceit, with this racism, and simply really look inside yourself. Give yourself the forgiveness that you need, just like they say, Jesus grants forgiveness. Look into the actual Jesus aspect, i.e. the Christ aspect within yourself. Get in touch with that, and give yourself forgiveness so you can be renewed and get yourself back into a place of darkness where you can receive new insight. Clean up your house, clean up your body, and then move forward when the new year comes. So whatever your intentions are now, write it down, make it plain, and set the vision and plot the course. Because if you do it, and you do it according to the principles of astrology, meaning you've honored this winter solstice by honoring your body, when the spring equinox comes around, you will actually reap the first harvest of whatever your new initiatives are, and it will be plentiful if you've done it correctly. So I want to receive, and I hope you do too. This is Ahmad Brown. This is We Meditate. Honest.